can I color the cutest coloring page using the ugliest color palette and it will still turn out good? Let's find out in today's video. Hello everyone! I have made another calendar and of course this one too is cat themed. It is available to purchase right now, link is in the description. I have also turned all the calendar images into coloring pages, which are also available in my shop, which means we have 12 different super cute coloring pages, and it's one of them that I will color in today. The calendar comes in 2 different sizes and it's featuring cats just doing their thing, being out on adventures, hanging with their friends, planting, baking, reading books, painting. It just has an overall cozy vibe. It is super colorful and super cute, and I'm super proud of how it turned out, and I hope you guys will like it too. Last year for the previous calendar, or the current calendar, the 2025 one, I was deciding between making regular cats and anthropomorphic cat characters, and I ended up going with regular cats. So this year I went with the cat characters, which was so much fun. After a lot of thinking back and forth, I also decided to do all the art digitally because, of course, as I usually am, I was on a time limit and I thought it would be a lot faster doing them all digitally since I wouldn't have to do any scanning or cleanup of the images. Well, I ended up spending way more time on each image than I had initially planned, so that idea didn't really work, but also I'm so happy with how all the art turned out. So in the end, I think it was definitely worth it, and I think it made some really cute coloring pages too. Now, these are digital downloadable coloring pages, but I've always wanted to make my own coloring book, but taking the step to make something completely new can be a bit scary, but with the help of today's sponsor, Craftsy, learning new things is easy. Craftsy is your online community and resource for all things creative. Here you'll find a ton of in-depth classes on a wide range of subjects like embroidery, woodworking, baking, gardening, photography, sewing, painting, and even yoga and fitness and so much more. You can connect with fellow makers and DIY enthusiasts to ask questions, share ideas, and find inspiration. As I've been making a lot of cute little cats for my calendar, I found this class super helpful, Expressive Gesture and Poses for Characters by Gerardo Escamilla. This is a subject that I always struggles with, so I take all the help that I can get, and in this class we learn a bunch of helpful tips and tricks, like using the line of action to add more flow and expression to our character, and how to break down the different parts of the character to get a more dynamic pose. We get to learn about proportions and even hair and clothing and how to put it all together. And I love baking, and today, October 4th, it is actually the cinnamon roll day here in Sweden, so here's a great video on how to make your own cinnamon rolls. It is so delicious. The instructional videos are taught by talented and friendly experts that walks you through each technique with step-by-step demonstrations, and if Craftsy sounds like something that you would like to join, then the first 1000 of you to click the link in the video description will get a full year of premium membership to Craftsy for only $1.49, valid for new members only. Thank you so much to Craftsy for sponsoring today's video. Now let's pick out some ugly colors. Also, if you like to see the full coloring process of all the calendar art and hear my thoughts about them, there will be a bonus video over at my Patreon. I have Phoenix here for moral support as usual, so I like to add a little disclaimer. I'm using the word ugly for entertainment purposes only. A color that is less appealing to me might be someone else's favorite, so it is all about personal preferences. My goal here is to pick out colors that I rarely work with because they're not my favorite, and again, they don't really appeal to me. And I had to shoo away the kitty because I don't want him to breathe any of the marker fumes. Generally, I'm not that fond of very bright, highlighty kind of colors like neon colors or very muddy colors, especially among the yellow and orangey tones. But yeah, the colors that I'm picking aren't necessarily ugly, but they're not really my favorite. So yeah, here's my ugly color palette. To be honest, they're not really that bad. The only colors that I find actually ugly are these yellowish colors that kind of reminds me of dishwater, the cerise and the reddish pinks, and also this yellowish green kind of reminds me of highlighter pens, not my favorite. The dark browns are a little gray and meh. The lighter greens are also a little grayish and bland, and these greens are a little too artificial for my liking. And we have one blue. I don't really care much for blue in general. I don't really think it is an ugly color. I just find this blue a little boring. To be fair, lining them up next to each other in color order, they do actually look pretty cute. Also, which color or color combination is your least favorite? Let me know. I think this will be very interesting, so let's get into it. So I will be coloring the September coloring page. It is one of my favorite art from the calendar, and it has such a lovely fall vibe that is very fitting for the current season. Let's see if it will still be my favorite even after this video. And you would think that I would have some kind of plans when picking out the color palette, knowing what art I would be coloring, but no, I didn't plan ahead at all. So my biggest struggle with this art was, how do I combine all of these awkward colors without they all clashing? So I came up with an idea where I put all the more desaturated colors in the background and the foreground, and then the brighter and more vibrant colors would be in the midground and act as the focal point of the art. So then I could keep all the darker and more muddy tones separated from the brighter colors, but they're still evenly spread out in the art. So the dark browns and the dishwater yellows I added to the background in sort of a gradient, and then the lighter grayish greens I used for the grounds. I avoided using any of the brighter greens because I wanted both the background and the ground to be more desaturated and washed out. So when I colored the mushrooms using the brighter colors, it would all stand out even more. I don't know, I think my idea is that this world is all desaturated and gray, but these bright magical mushrooms are growing here and brightening it up. With the background being lighter in the middle, it almost feels like this scene is taking place inside of a dark cave. So maybe this kitty has found himself some crystal mushrooms, which definitely sounds like something. This kitty will have a great time. And again, I didn't really think of how to combine any of the colors, how to mix them when picking them, so some of them aren't really blending that well. I wanted to make a gradient from the darker orange to the neon yellowish green for some of the mushrooms, and I would have preferred a like orangey yellow or pure yellow as the in-between color, but I only had this brownish mustard yellow, which made the blend looking a little muddy, and the blue color, which I mixed with a pink to get a purple color, was also a bit hard to blend. But other than that, I think it turned out pretty good. I could achieve some pretty good blends, and I especially like the green mushrooms. It feels very crystal-like, and the little fluffy creature on top of the mushroom, it only adds to the mysterious cave feeling. In the calendar version, these little creatures are friendly, but in this version, who knows? I like to think that they are friendly. Maybe they are some sort of cave guardians watching over the magical mushrooms. And I have to say, even if this may not be my favorite piece of art that I've ever made, I still think it turned out pretty interesting. I think I managed to balance the desaturated colors with the brighter ones in a fairly creative way. The background color may drag down the overall score, but I still feel pleased with it. What I like with these limited color palette challenges is that you get to break out from your regular way of thinking and perhaps try something new. It is very easy to get stuck in old tracks, and that is why I love a good challenge every once in a while. Or testing new art supplies, you can always find new art mediums or techniques. This may not be my new go-to color palette, but it was still nice trying something different. To finish it off and to add even more of that magical vibe that I was going for, I added a bunch of white highlights and sparks using a paint pen, and I also added some color pencils for a little extra pop of color and details, and I think this is the final touch that this piece needed. Also, really great coloring page, I can highly recommend. But yeah, let me know how I did. Did I manage to keep the art cute even with the ugly colors? So yeah, here it is. It is a little different from the original art, but it is really fun seeing how different the art can look using different color palettes. But yeah, that is all for now. Again, if you would like to see the full process of when making the calendar art, it will be available over my Patreon. The calendars and the coloring pages are already available in my shop, along with a bunch of new prints and bookmarks. You will find all the links in the description box below. Thanks Craftsy for sponsoring this video, and thank you guys for watching. I will see you next time. Keep drawing my happy cats. Bye!